Listen, before we even get started with today's video, can we just take a moment and appreciate the background music? You know, Pokemon Legends Arceus is a controversial game, to say the least, amongst the Pokemon community, but one thing we can all agree on, they absolutely nailed the soundtrack. I mean, Pokemon, they always nail the music. That's kind of like the one thing that they are always good at doing. But man, some of the soundtracks in this game are divine. Perfect, I would say. And I really enjoyed the one we used for today's intro. Anyways, my name is Lionhearts. Welcome back to the Crucible Brothers, and as you can see, today we're going to be talking about the return of the king! Touch of Malice! Finally back in Destiny 2 after what feels like, so long since we last saw it in Destiny 1, and man, is it out here, making a claim in PvP as a weapon you should fear. So excited to review it today. I got very lucky. I got on my 5th Etude clear of Kingsfall, which is actually my luckiest raid exotic luck I've ever had, which is pretty cool, especially because Touch of Malice is one of those exotics I've been looking forward to coming back ever since it was even rumored that we could get Kingsfall back into this game. So today, we're going to talk about Touch of Malice, what it does in PvP, where it belongs in PvP, should you be using it, can it compete in the meta, all of that exciting stuff, as well as a perfect loadout to pair with it. But before we get too much further, make sure you guys take a second, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. All those things help us in the YouTube algorithm. It brings more people to the Crucible Brothers. It helps us grow and continue to strive forward into Season 2 of the Crucible Brothers in the Pirate Season of Destiny 2. Also, one thing, I have to shout it out. If you guys weren't aware, it's been all over the community on Twitter, Reddit, other YouTube videos. Right now, during September, it's Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. If you guys are out there playing Destiny, run golden shaders on all of your gear. Gold is the color associated with childhood cancer awareness. This went viral when someone in the community unfortunately lost their kid to cancer, which is awful. No one should have to go through that. It's a small gesture, but a gesture nonetheless. It brings more awareness to this cause. So if you're out there, if you don't have a loadout you're super attached to, slap a gold shader on it, make yourself look like an absolute demigod, and support a good cause while you're doing it. Anyways, let's get right back to the video. Okay, just a little bit of house cleaning before we go forward. I have Touch of Malice, but I do not have the Catalyst yet. I'm waiting for a couple more friends to get it so I don't have to do 15 billion Catalyst runs inside of Kingsfall. An important thing to note, the Catalyst does add another perk. It adds Rapid Hit, which will be very nice for the weapon, but I don't think it's necessary, or does it like change how the weapon plays in a significant way. Anyways, I get to do something we haven't done in a while, and that's do a good old-fashioned statistical breakdown, so get them stats on the board, please. Now, I know there's a lot of scary numbers on the screen that's going to make some of you guys uncomfortable. I have a solution. Here's a Fellwinter's Lie in the corner for those of you who don't know where you are. Don't worry, that'll help you keep yourself grounded while we talk about the big scary numbers. Now, when you look at this, a lot of things stick out, namely that there are peaks and valleys between Touch of Malice and its competitors in terms of statistical comparison. You're going to see big gaps in stats, where Touch of Malice might have a big lead in stuff like range and handling and reload. It seriously lacks in stuff like stability, and most importantly, there is a gigantic gap between aim assist between Touch of Malice and the other rapid fire scout rifles in the archetype. And again, another counterpoint, Touch of Malice has second best in class recoil direction compared to the legendaries, and it ties with symmetry. The last thing that stands out majorly is Touch of Malice's airborne effectiveness being 25, which is actually pretty serviceable. You can take some jump shots here and not have much issue whatsoever, and you can quite easily build into an in-air scout playstyle with something like Heat Rises and be very, very annoying, though I think there are better routes in terms of loadout, something we'll talk about in just a moment. All in all, that aim assist gap may be scary on the surface, but during my playtesting, I didn't really notice any issues with hit reg whatsoever on Touch of Malice. It felt just like the other rapid fire, so take that for what it is. But of course, stats are only one part of the tale. We need to talk about perks. The main name of the game with Touch of Malice, just the same as it was in Destiny 1, is abusing its last bullet damage boost to hit insane damage thresholds. And it turns out in Destiny 2, we are more uniquely suited to abuse this damage boost than at any point in Destiny 1, because rapid fire scouts might be one of the most beneficial archetypes in the game for any amount of damage increase, something we've talked about a lot in the past. When you're on the final bullet of Touch of Malice, you're already decreasing your time to kill from 0.93 seconds taking 5 crits to 0.7 seconds taking 4 crits. So just by dumping your magazine, you're already beating the most relevant weapons in the metagame, that being 600 RPM SMGs and of course 140 RPM hand cannons. You're beating that golden 0.87 time to kill quite hefty, and that is very, very good. Especially because there's no cost, other than obviously your health per shot. You can have that bonus activated the moment you start your life, which is crazy good. Now obviously there is a downside, you are killing yourself on every shot, something we will talk about in just a moment, but in theory, this makes Touch of Malice out the gate a very potent weapon at all ranges. It can, in theory, go toe-to-toe with some of the strongest weapons in the metagame, like No Time to Explain at range. And out DPS something like Jade Rabbit right out the box in terms of the Scout Rifle versus Scout Rifle matchup. And the disgustingness doesn't stop there. Damage boosts stack. If you have Touch of Malice active and then activate any other damage boost like Radiant or an Empowering Rift or whatever else you got, Charged with Light, suddenly you are dealing 70 per crit, allowing you to 3 crit any Guardian in the game at that beautiful, magical, contingency plan, absolute slapping 0.47 second time to kill. Now I can't stress this enough, being able to spawn in, and at the cost of just taking a second to dump your magazine and then put down an Empowering Rift, to suddenly be able to achieve a 0.47 time to kill with essentially zero cost is one of the most ridiculous potentials in the entire game. This is better than stuff like Taraba, this is better than Last Word, this is absolutely filthy, and it makes Touch of Malice one of the highest risk-reward weapons I have ever used, because you have to sacrifice a lot here. You're putting yourself on the line to get this damage output because you are damaging yourself so heavily. Not to mention, when you activate the Touch of Malice bullet, the self-flinch that you do is quite severe. The VFX on screen can distract you, and it has cost me fights already. But again, that potential is so worth it. It leads me to believe that Touch of Malice, despite its insane damage output potential, is a balanced weapon because of all that you have to sacrifice. So how do we take Touch of Malice now that we understand its lethality and make it its most optimized it can be? Well, that's where this disgusting Warlock build comes in. Now, this ain't rocket surgery. This is a build so easy a Titan could do it, I know, because I am one. What we're going to be doing here is abusing Devour with the Warlock Exotic Secret Filaments and dedicating every single resource we have to maintaining Devour and maintaining our Rift cooldowns as best as possible. Because the more Empowering Rifts are down, the more 3-taps we can dish out. The more 3-taps we can dish out, the more we can get our health back with Devour, Rinse, Repeat, and you become an absolute menace. The build is very simple. When you're running Void, you're going to want Feed the Void and Child of the Old Gods as your 2 aspects. This is just so we have the best combination of proccing Devour wherever we can, be it with Axiom Bolts, or melee, or with kills from Child of the Old Gods, and most importantly, Child of the Old Gods, when it does damage, helps refund Rift energy, which will help us to keep our Empowering Rifts up as much as possible. For aspects, we are running Echo of Expulsion, so if any of our Void abilities snag a kill, they can do some explosive chip to nearby enemies. We are also running Echo of Leeching, so that melee final blows start our health regeneration for you and nearby allies. This one doesn't come up very often, but mainly it's there for the stat boost. A little bit of resilience can help, especially for me and my armor setup, but feel free to use another aspect if you already have your resilience very well covered. We're also running Echo of Persistence, so that void buffs that are applied to us, especially Devour, have increased duration. This is kind of the key one to have with your build, because it gives you a 17-second Devour to start with when you drop your Secant Filaments Rift. Lastly, we're running Echo of Remnants, so that our Axiom Darts will chase people until the end of the earth. That gives us the highest likelihood that those Axiom Darts do in fact snag a kill. I think what I like most about this build is that it doesn't lose the inherent risk-reward nature of the Touch of Malice playstyle, because it's not like running something like Sanguine Alchemy, Healing Rifts, and then Well of Radiance, which was another build that I considered, where you're essentially out-healing all of the damage dealt to you by Touch of Malice. No. You're proccing Devour, but you have to get the kill while you are damaging yourself to reap the reward. It allows you to continue chaining kills, but you are still vulnerable in the duel from the Touch of Malice damage. I think that's really cool. It still plays into the spirit of the weapon. And on top of that, you get insane lethality because you get to run empowering rifts, so you have access out the gate to those disgusting potential 3-taps. At the end of the day, this build is just fun. And when you consider the kind of nightmare state of the Crucible right now, there's not a whole lot of fun being had. A lot of people are just kind of sticking to their guns and running the strongest loads they possibly can. And this is a loadout that is both strong but fun. It allows me to play a unique playstyle in a very non-unique meta, but I don't feel unviable while doing it. It's awesome. And the biggest thing, this is a scout rifle that does not lose to fucking no time to explain. Fuck that weapon. So yeah, touch a mouse, 10 out of 10. Would stuff a god inside of a gun again anytime. If you haven't gone it yet, I wish you luck out there in Kingsfall. Kingsfall, by the way, amazing if you haven't done it yet. They did a perfect job bringing it back to Destiny 2. It's an amazing raid, a fun time. Oryx is in the back, not the front. Fuck you. If you guys liked the video, make sure you leave a comment down below, like the video as well as subscribe to the channel for more. We got more amazing builds and reviews coming your way shortly, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.